Divorce can take years. So everyone's worried about how much your retainer is. Do I have to go to court? What you really should be worried about is my position, if the other side doesn't agree, will I go years to fight that? Or is it something I'm going to give in? Because if it's something you're going to give in, then maybe you should think about that early in the process. And that's where you can get really good collaborative attorneys or mediators to help you through the thicket. Welcome back to Getting Divorced Without Losing Your Mind. I'm Corey Shapiro. I'm here to help you work on your divorce, not just getting lost in it. So easy to get lost in your divorce. So congratulations for taking time to gain some wisdom, gain some distance. Look at your divorce from a different altitude, maybe at 30,000 feet altitude, not just on the ground floor. Because when you're on the ground floor, you can't strategize, you can't plan. You got to get above in rarefied air. And that's what we're doing today because we're dealing with time. What they don't tell you at the consult is divorce can take years. So everyone's worried about how much your retainer is. Do I have to go to court? What you really should be worried about is my position, if the other side doesn't agree, will I go years to fight that? Or is it something I'm going to give in? Because if it's something you're going to give in, then maybe you should think about that early in the process. And that's where you can get really good collaborative attorneys or mediators to help you through the thicket. Because I don't want you to get stuck in a long divorce. It's like sort of doing renovations on a house. Actually, even more like sometimes I go down to Florida and I see these half-built condos. Did they run out of money? And then you have an eyesore. I don't want you to have a half-built condo development. I want you to be able to complete what's important to you with the budget that you have. Okay? So let me give you 5 ways to stop wasting time in your divorce. Number 1 is your agenda. Have agenda-driven meetings. Number 2 is a 24-hour pause. Number 3 is stop going through your spouse, start going around. Number 4 is protect your weekends. And number 5 is contain divorce stress. All right, let's start with number 1, agenda-driven meetings. Now, lawyers bill by time, so anything they can do to waste time, and I'm not saying all attorneys, I'm just saying some, it's just a part of the system, will do it. So make sure if you are trying to be efficient and you have an efficient attorney, which I'm sure you do since you're watching this podcast or listening to this podcast, don't allow your attorney to have any meeting with the other side unless there's an agenda. And if they're saying, well, we're going to have a settlement meeting, and if you feel you guys are apart, get the settlement beforehand. Because a lot of what they're going to try to do is just manipulate you emotionally in that meeting, or maybe get a mediator to help you through this. So no agenda, no meeting, and keep it short, these meetings. It could be a half an hour, 15 minutes. And if it's stalled, end it. Don't want to waste time on these unproductive meetings. All right, the 24-hour pause. The reason the 24-hour pause is so important is when emotions are running high, I am trying to create some distance between when you're activated and acting, where there's no distance, and activating and waiting and getting back to your big brain. That's what this podcast is trying to do. Listen, you already know how to parent your kids. You already know how to act. But when you're stressed, when you're panicked, when you're grieving, when you're anxious, that's when problems start. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here when things are difficult. I'm here when it's tough. And that 24-hour pause is going to bring yourself back to your better parts of you, to your big brain. So you're not just acting out of high emotion. Now, if you're still stressed after 24 hours and can't respond, wait a week. And if you're still stressed, go see a therapist if you can, or talk to someone where you can vent, or even go on a walk. Here's a free version. Go on a walk, get your recorder, and just record what you're saying. Vent out to your recorder for half an hour, and then listen to it a few days later. It's really going to change your mind about what's been going on in your head when you get it out and you can listen to it. So the 24-hour pause, excellent way to be more efficient with time. Because if you act out, things can just go sideways in your divorce. Now, strategy number 3. Stop trying to go through your divorce. Start going around. Maybe, there's like this ultimate ideal of a divorce attorney, which is a shark, or maybe it was. The evolution to a divorce attorney is someone who is creative, someone who go around. We've never gone through sharks. If we go into the water, we can't go through a shark. They're going to take us down. If we go hiking in the woods, we can't go through a bear. They will take us down. We had thought, how do you get around these things, these challenges? So if you have a difficult spouse that's bringing out the worst of you, how can you stop that? You're probably going to have the last word, and think of a side door. A side door. Like when you try to storm a castle and there's that back entrance, that's what we're trying to do. I'll give an example where we can use our big brains. Let's say you're still stuck in this pattern of texting because you have children and they're just being nasty. And then there was an advice to go onto parenting apps, but they won't go on the parenting apps. They still just text you. Now, here's how you can do it. You respond on the parenting apps. They will respond by text. You keep on doing this. Then you go to court and you have your attorney tell the judge what's been going on, that you agreed because for effective co-parenting to do co-parenting apps, they won't do that. They text you for non-emergency issues. And then that gets the judge to realize that this person's, not being reasonable. And that's where the judge might do rough justice later on. The judge might go your way just based on that alone, if everything else is equal. So you have to take the higher road. They could take the low road. And then one day, I'm not guaranteed, but one day, I believe you'll be rewarded. All right, step 4, I want you to protect your weekends. Please, and I learned this one the hard way. Actually, I've learned most of this stuff the hard way. I had a client where I would just get stuff from the opposing counsel and I would forward it on Friday because I thought she would want to know. She was like, why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me? I want to have rest and relaxation on my weekend. They always forward things on Friday. And I was like, oh my God, you're right. So that I've been stopped doing that a while ago. And don't let your attorney forward you anything on Friday. Preserve your energy. You need to reset. You need to get back into yourself, into your normal life. It will be there on Monday, trust me. And then number 5, I want you to contain divorce stress. I want you to have a worry window. And this is why I've sort of given different advice or different suggestions on the journal. Because I think the journaling is great for worry, a traditional journaling, the stream of conscious. And that's what I want you to do. So up to 30 minutes, do a worry journal. I want you to do the gratitude journal, which I talk about, just to get your mind focusing on positive. But, 30 minutes of worry, it's going to make you feel better. But then once that worry time is over, you got to move on. You can't have it take off your whole day. And I know it's hard. You're going to have to fake it until you make it. You are going to have to fake it until you make it. That's just the truth. All right, let's do our mindset reset question. Let's get you in there. You got all this good information. Let's reset your mind to make sure you're bringing your best forward. Here's our reset question for today. What's one time-saving boundary you can set today? Just one. I've given you a few, so it's not going to be that challenging. Well, listen, if you've gone this far through the budget, maybe watch it again. A lot of the stuff needs to be reinforced, and it takes time to put into practice. But the foundation is here for you to make quantum changes in your divorce. And if this helped you in any way, please do me a favor and share your story. You can leave your story at share.gettingdivorced.org. And if you are at the point where you finish your divorce and this was helpful and you remember this, leave a voice message. And I may play it on a future episode of the podcast. And I want to inspire people that when they're in this difficult time, that there is going to be a light that they can go to. And you're going to inspire them, just like I'm trying to inspire you. I'm Corey Shapiro, helping you become more creative, less reactive in your divorce.
Thank you for tuning in to the Getting Divorced Without Losing Your Mind podcast. with divorce coach Corey Shapiro. This podcast offers general information only. It cannot replace legal advice. If you need tailored advice, contact an attorney licensed to practice in your area